Senator Osotsi.
Madam Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to say something on the Equalization Fund appropriation bill. Madam Speaker, this particular bill is supposed to appropriate money to go to these deprived areas. Madam Speaker, we are talking about 34 areas in 34 counties which are going to benefit from this fund. And looking through it, my county is not included among the 34 counties. And Madam Speaker, I am very concerned. When this bill first came to this House, Mr. Speaker, I engaged the CRA, and they told me that they were going to consider counties, which areas in counties which are at least quintile 2 or quintile 1. And some of my areas are in quintile 2, Madam Speaker. But when I look through the bill, my county is not listed. And I want to join my colleagues who have said, I think we need to relook at the policy that identifies the areas that it needs to benefit from this equalization fund. Madam Speaker, I think even before we consider this particular bill, I think it will be important that the policy, the marginalization policy, that then this distribution is based on must be considered by this House and approved by this House. Because we cannot just come in at the last moment where we are being told to appropriate money. We must also look at the policy itself. How are they identifying the so-called marginalized sublocation, and how are they categorizing into various quintiles, from quintile 1 to quintile 4. Madam Speaker, when I was given a list by the CRA, we had areas in my county which ideally deserve to benefit from this equalization fund. There is a sublocation called Mutembei. There is a sublocation called Ivola, which are in Tambua ward. There are two sublocations, Vigulu, Chagenda, which are in Mungoma and South Maragoli. They are not listed in this list, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, these are heavily marginalized areas. The people, like in this place called Chagenda, people are staying on stones. People have no access to water. People have no access to hospitals. People have no access to roads. And then you categorize them as sublocations which are not going to benefit. That is why we must question the process of determining the marginalized sublocation, instead of us just waiting to approve money to go into these areas. Madam Speaker, there is an area in a ward called Emavungu, which is on a hill. Even getting there is a problem. There are schools there. Children struggle to get to their schools. And this area is not listed among the areas to benefit. Madam Speaker, this area called Vigulu and Chagenda has always experienced hailstorms. Just about 2 weeks ago, the houses in this area were destroyed by heavy hailstorms. And these people have not benefited from any emergency support from the government. They are experiencing climate change challenges because of the destruction of Maragoli forests. And government is doing nothing. When this opportunity arises, I expect such areas to benefit, but are not benefiting because of the policy that we have not looked at, because of the policy that is done in a skewed manner. I want to respect the independence of CRA. But being independent does not mean that you are not subject to oversight. We want to see how they determine marginalization in our areas. Because in any case, this marginalization fund was meant for ASAL areas. But now, because you have expanded the counties to be considered to 34, then we must question why 34 and not the others, the remaining 13 counties. Kakamega County, for example, Madam Speaker, is not included. We know there are places in Kakamega County, Lugari areas, and even some areas of Matungu, which are heavily marginalized, but they are not included. So, Madam Speaker, we cannot be sitting here talking about which area to get equalization fund when we do not participate in reviewing, discussing, debating the marginalization policy upon which the determination of these areas is done. Madam Speaker, we expect in the next year, when we will be looking at 2024 bill, that before the bill is brought to us, we want to look at the list of the areas in which quintile do they belong and what marginalization policy is done before we pass these figures. Madam Speaker, I feel so bad that my county is being categorized among the rich counties, when we know Vihiga County is one of the most densely populated counties. And because of the dense population, our people have no land to cultivate anything. Our people are going hungry every day. And then you come here and say they are not marginalized. We look for other areas which are marginalized, and we leave out potential areas which should be marginalized and which should be in this list. Madam Speaker, areas like Kiptemes, areas like Gimarakwa, areas like Evola, these are remote areas, Madam Speaker. Even getting there is a problem. No water, no electricity, nothing. But they are not included here. So we are asking CRA, even though you are independent, your independence does not mean that you do things in a skewed manner. You need to subject that policy.
Senator, your time is up. Senator Nyamu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to make my contribution towards this bill. Mr. Speaker, on the face of it, I support...
Senator Nyamu, I have not changed my sex yet.
Oh. Sorry, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to support this bill on the onset and on the face of it.